and welcome. I'm Brandon Torres.
And I'm Michelle Morales, and this is the Pacific Coast News for the County of San Mateo.
It's Wednesday, March 12, 2014, and this is the news for the week.
Our top story for this week is that the Pacifica Police Department started canvassing the Fairway area today, looking for leads in the Gypsy Hill murders. Captain Joe Spanheimer confirmed the police has used internet resources to determine that there are a handful of longtime residents in the area still. In case you haven't heard, the FBI held a press conference last week to announce that they now have evidence that connects all of these homicides and is looking for the help of local residents to catch the murderer. There are two victims from Pacifica. Veronica Ronnie Castillo was last seen in the Fairway neighborhood of Pacifica, walking from her home to the bus stop located at Bradford Way and Fairway Drive. Her body was found the next day at Sharp Park Golf Course. The second victim from Pacifica is Tanya Marie Blackwell. On January 24, 1976, 14-year-old Blackwell left her home on Heathcliff Drive, reportedly walking to a 7-Eleven store located at King Drive in South San Francisco. Her body was located months later off Gypsy Hill Road in Pacifica. Captain Spanheimer said the police will also canvass the Westview area. If anyone can remember anything from that time, please contact the FBI San Francisco Field Office at 415-553-7400. Press 0 and advise it is in regards to the Gypsy Hill cases. All calls are confidential. There are also other victims being investigated in the peninsula as well. This investigation is a joint effort between the FBI, San Mateo County Sheriff's Office, Daly City Police Department, Pacifica Police Department, and South San Francisco Police Department, in addition to the Reno Police Department. Now moving on to coastal crime, 2 cars were reported stolen on March 9th. The first was at 507th on Kent Road, Pacifica. The resident said a 4-door Toyota Camry was last seen at 4 p.m. the day before, and they just woke up to find it missing. The second was at 8:41 p.m. on Greenway Drive, also in Pacifica. A resident reported his white Ford Econoline work van was stolen after 5 p.m. The van has a ladder rack with a yellow ladder on top. While on March 8th, a resident reported at around 12:30 p.m., 2 cars on Greenway Drive were broken into over the night and had cash and other items taken. Then on March 7th in Moss Beach, a car was reported burglarized between 2 p.m. and 5:20 p.m. on the 100 block of Beach Way. The thieves broke into the car by breaking a window and took $9,475 worth of belongings, including computers, a camera, among other items. Then also on the same day, the sheriff took a report of a car burglary at Johnson Pier at around 4:50 p.m. The window was smashed and approximately $1,000 worth of belongings were taken. On March 5th, a resident on the 200 block of San Mateo Road in Half Moon Bay reported to the sheriff that an unknown suspect cashed their paycheck. The victim's employer advised them that they will reimburse the victim. Earlier that morning at 6:35 a.m., a resident on Hickey Boulevard, Pacifica, reported a loud sound and found bullet holes in the ceiling, hallway, and in 2 windows. Fortunately, no one was injured. A similar incident also occurred in the Fairmont area on March 4th at 6:30 a.m. when residents reported someone fired a gun into their house, but no one was injured and the suspect fled before the police arrived. The Pacifica Police Department is still looking for the suspect that caused the fatal hit and run on the 100 block of Palmetto Avenue. The car is described as a gray or dark colored vehicle, possibly a Monte Carlo Charger or a similar type vehicle shown as these ones here. It was last seen heading towards Daly City on Palmetto Avenue at around 7:45 a.m. on January 14th. The deceased was identified as Ishwar Patel, 71, of Daly City. Anyone with information regarding this case is asked to call the Pacifica Police Department at 650-738-7314 or the anonymous tip line at 650-359-4444.
Moving on to the Coastal Court update, the preliminary trial for Paul David Messersmith was postponed until March 20th and will take place in South San Francisco. Messersmith, 47, is the Pacifica resident who's charged with forcible rape, rape by using an intoxicating substance, sexual battery, and battery after his girlfriend's daughter reported being drugged and raped by him. He allegedly put Zolpidem in some ice cream. Zolpidem is better known by its brand name Ambien. Messersmith was arrested on December 11th when the young woman reported the incident after waking up groggy. He remains in custody and no bail is allowed. While two doctors' reports regarding the competency of Keith Christopher Miller will be submitted to a judge on April 3rd, Miller, 25, of Montera, was arrested on February 2nd at his mother's house on the 900 block of Cedar Street. The ordeal began on January 31st when a woman reported her adult son was on drugs and had strangled her, stating he was going to kill her. She was able to escape and run to a neighbor's to call 911. Miller fled on a dirt bike into the wooded area. His mother was given an emergency restraining order and was advised not to return home until her son was arrested. Deputies searched the area while keeping surveillance on the residence. In case he returned, it wasn't until February 2nd at 1:45 a.m. sheriff's deputies saw Miller inside the house. They attempted to open the front glass door and demanded entry, but Miller refused to open the door and was reported to be yelling incoherently. A deputy broke a window on the door and attempted to unlock the deadbolt, but Miller continually struck the hand of the deputy. As a result, a canine unit was released into the residence and detained Miller as he was just about to flee outside the back door. Miller was arrested and transported to San Mateo County Jail on charges of attempted murder and resisting arrest, just to name a couple of the charges Miller could face, if he's found competent. Miller was arraigned on February 11th, and the doctors were appointed on February 13th. He remains in custody, and no bail is allowed. If you live with a loved one who has an addiction problem and aren't sure what to do about it, the county has an alcohol and drug helpline at 650-579-0356. That number again is 650-579-0356. Lastly, Rob Byron Turner's case will go to trial on June 23rd. Turner, 31 of Orinda, was also arrested on February 2nd on the 200 block of Capistrano Road, Princeton, for embezzling a leased vehicle. Turner had a rental car that was supposed to have been returned on December 1st. A search of the car revealed marijuana and suspected hashish oil, so he was also charged with possession of concentrated cannabis. He was arrested and transported to the San Mateo County Jail.
Well, if you haven't heard yet, the judge made his final decision on the rental increase for the Pacific Skies Estates and ruled in favor of the residents. Pacific Skies Estates is located at 1300 Palmetto Avenue. The Pacifica Skies Estates owners were requesting permission to raise rent for 15 spaces where the tenants own their mobile homes by almost $1,120. On top of the approximately $800 to $1,300 monthly rent the mobile home owners already pay for their homes. That is about a 70% increase. However, the ruling does allow the owner to amend the petition by submitting the required financial documents as outlined by the city ordinance. The ordinance requires the owners to show financial records from when they purchased the property. The same owners have owned this property since 1987, but only had financial records since 1991. Carol McDermott, spokesperson for the owners of Pacific Skies Estates, said they do have plans to amend the petition, but wasn't sure when they would. Also in the judge's 15-page ruling was that he did receive the letters protesting the rent increase from the affected residents, in addition to the petition from the owners. The ruling also stated that the owners are entitled to a rent increase, but the judge didn't find sufficient evidence to support what the owners were asking. Here's what Deborah Mallon, one of the affected residents, had to say about the ruling and if the owners amend the petition and tried to increase the rent.
We were all so happy when it came through and that we were, victorious, because we knew we were fighting a good fight. But when you're sitting in court and you're listening, to the testimony of the CPA and or other, management staff and things, you begin to wonder: is the judge really listening to you? And it turned out that he did listen to both sides, and he did weigh, the good and the bad, and in this case we came out victorious. Now, granted, he did, pass it to our, we did win, but it was, he dismissed the case without prejudice, which means that we're going to probably have to deal with this again. We'll have to deal with it soon, sooner rather than later, most likely. The problem is we really can't plan, because until they actually present the amended document, we don't know what we're going to be fighting. But we are going to fight again. I mean, if they come back with an unreasonable amount, as they did with this one, $1,100 was an unreasonable amount. That was not. I don't know what they were thinking. But we will fight. We're not going to. We're not going to settle. It may be a small number, but we're going to continue doing what we think is right. Protect our property.
Again, that was Deborah Mallon, a Pacific Skies Estates resident. The mobile home owners are seniors and veterans who are all on fixed incomes and would have been forced out of their homes if the requested increase was approved.
During the Pacifica City Council meeting on March 10th, Council member Lynn Stone announced the city received a $41,000 check from Recology. Here's that announcement and the details about it.
Also mentioned one last thing that I guess we got a big $41,000 check just this afternoon, I believe. Our citizens and our city has done a great job over the last couple of years in recycling and our diversion rates. Fantastic job. We have some of the best diversion rates. I think only San Francisco is close to us. And a lot of it has to do with our recycling receptacles. And we have one big bin. That's a lot of 3 bins. You still see a lot of places around the county. And so Recology just gave us a check for $41,000 because we get a portion of everything that they of the recycling sales. Everything over a certain amount, get 50% of that. So the citizens are doing an excellent job recycling, and I just want to commend you. And I think the way that Recology is more than just recycling has really helped that as well. So it's been a good partnership.
Again, that was Pacifica City Council member Lynn Stone explaining that when residents cash in their recyclables in town, the city gets a percentage of it. So that's a good thing to keep in mind when you recycle. Not only do you put money in your pocket, but you're helping out the city too. Also during the meeting, March was declared to be Red Cross Month. This is supposed to be the time to recognize and thank those who reach out to help their neighbors when they are in need across the country and around the world and have responded to hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, and wildfires. Our local chapter trained more than 170,000 people in life-saving CPR, first aid, water safety, and preparedness education, provided emergency communications, counseling, financial assistance, and a caring presence to more than 8,000 local military families, and supported 28 Bay Area hospitals, providing them with nearly 75,000 units of red blood cells, platelets, and plasma to patients in need, just to name a few of the items that the Red Cross handles. The county supervisors have also declared it to be Red Cross Month during their March 11th meeting. The County Planning and Building Department approved plans for a micro distillery in Princeton by the sea during their March 6th meeting. Applicants Uric and Cesar Bassano are proposing to use 1 unit in an existing 4-unit complex at 103 Harvard Avenue in Princeton by the sea. There will be no changes to the exterior of the building. The operation of the distillery will use a small natural gas still to produce artesian liquor. Only fermentation and bottling will occur on the site. No grain will be stored. The distillery will run solely by the applicant. Sales of the liquor will occur off-site. The facility will not be open to the public, and no commercial vehicles are required to transport the batches of liquor produced. So traffic should not be affected.
The Coastal Commission is meeting today and tomorrow, but it's during tomorrow's meeting that the Commission will most likely deny Todd Bray's appeal for the expansion of the Holiday Express at Rockaway Beach. Holiday Inn Express Hotel has plans, which the city has already approved, to expand the existing 38-room hotel to add an additional 44 rooms for a total of 72 rooms and 2,010 square feet of retail space, and to expand the existing on-site parking garage. The approved project would expand the southern side of the existing building with a second 3-story addition. Currently, it is occupied by an existing abandoned 2-story single-family house that will be demolished to accommodate a dozen rooms on 3 floors. The approved expansions would add about 35,600 square feet of hotel and retail space area, plus 8,400 square feet of garage area. One of the reasons for appealing the project is that it encroaches on Rockaway Creek. The Coastal Commission is denying the appeal since the expansion of the building is going to stay within the existing buildings and an additional buffer for the creek isn't necessary. The existing hotel is 41 feet high, and the approved expansion plans would add 3 stories, making the new building 44 feet 7 inches to the north and south of the buildings. An aesthetic tower is also approved on the corner of Rockaway Beach and Old County Road with a height of 50 feet 3 inches. Another reason for the project that it being appealed is because Bray said a 41 to 51 foot high box-like structure with no quaint coastal appeal would intimidate beachgoers. The Commission said that a 3-story building can fit within the area without destroying anyone else's views. Other added improvements will be a meeting room, fitness area, storage facilities, and new bathrooms. Similar improvements will also be added to the north side of the building.
This week there were quite a few beaches that were have elevated levels of indicator bacteria, and signs have been posted to warn users that they may become ill if they engage in water contact activities in the posted area. The signs have been posted at the following beaches: Capistrano Beach, West Point Beach, Mavericks Parking and Outer Harbor Beach. San Mateo County routinely tests 43 natural recreational water sites each week by a combination of county staff and volunteers, primarily associated with the local chapter of the Surfrider Foundation. Samples are analyzed by the San Mateo County Public Health Laboratory for 3 bacteria indicator perimeters specified by state regulations. Their indicator bacteria include total coliform, E. coli, and Enterococcosis. When high indicator bacteria levels are found, the site is posted with a warning sign and is retested to confirm the results. Warning signs are posted when bacterial standards have exceeded state swimming standards, but there are no confirmed sources of contamination. Persons using recreational water posted by county health officials do so at their own risk. These signs are posted to alert the public that there may be a risk of illness associated with swimming in contaminated waters, and are an advisory rather than a quarantine or beach closure. A warning sign is also posted at San Vicente Creek at Fitzgerald Marine Reserve. When swimming at ocean beaches where creeks that cross the beach, it is best practice to avoid recreational activity in the creek as well as the ocean water in the immediate area where the creek meets the ocean. While the creek water may look calmer and safer for you or your child to play in, it typically has higher bacteria counts than the ocean water. Also, avoid going in water during rainstorms. Swimming in areas close to urban storms and storm drain outlets should be avoided during and for up to 3 days after the end of a rainfall event due to increased levels of bacteria caused by rainfall runoff.
Well, San Mateo County has passed the peak of the flu season, and reports of the flu have been steadily decreasing since the middle of February. Since then, 13 cases of influenzas were detected, while at the same time last year, 37 cases were reported. That is almost 3 times more. Although influenza activity has decreased, it remains elevated in the rest of the nation. This season's total of reportable influenza cases includes 16 ICU cases and 6 deaths. Moving on to other health news, March 31st is the deadline to sign up for insurance through the Affordable Care Act, also commonly called Obamacare. What many people do not know is that March 31st is the deadline to sign up for a health plan through Covered California. The Affordable Care Act gives residents a few chances to sign up for health coverage before the end of the year, but that doesn't hold true for California residents. California residents who miss the deadline will have to wait until next year's open enrollment period to sign up through Covered California and to obtain financial assistance and to make coverage affordable. Also, health coverage wouldn't begin until January 2015, unless there is a qualifying event such as marriage, divorce, or loss of a job in the interim. People who miss the deadline may also have to pay a federal tax penalty. Of the 80,000 uninsured in San Mateo County, 30,000 are eligible to enroll in a Covered California health plan, of which about 11,000 people have already enrolled to date. With only 2 weeks remaining to meet the March 31st deadline, there are still thousands of people in the county who are eligible for health insurance but have not yet enrolled. Most of the 11,000 people eligible to enroll are not aware that they qualify for financial assistance. There are multiple enrollment events scheduled throughout the county over the next couple of weeks, along with extended enrollment hours at existing drop-in enrollment sites. For a list of enrollment sites and events, residents can visit this website shown below.
In sports this week, Terra Nova High School's football team has a new head coach to lead them into next season. Coach Tim Adams has been tapped to fill the big shoes of legendary coach Bill Gray, the most successful football coach in Terra Nova High School's history. Coach Adams is no stranger to the football program himself, having been their head offensive coach for the last 5 years and a large part of their last 5 consecutive Peninsula Athletic League Bay Division championships. The team has undefeated last year in regular season play, but did not make it past the first round of playoff games. In other sports news, Half Moon Bay High School soccer team won their Central Coast Section Division III game with a 3-2 win over Burlingame High School last Saturday night, when Jonathan Rico scored the winning goal with 9 minutes left in the second overtime to give them their very first CCS soccer title in Half Moon Bay's school history. The school's girls basketball team did not fare so well in their quest for a championship title when they were knocked out of the second round of the Central Coast Division IV championship, with a loss to Monte Vista Christian 65-42. And that's the news for this week in sports on the coast.
And actually, that's the news on the coast for this week. We finally created our Facebook page, so look for Pacific Coast News, the show. You can submit news tips, suggestions, videos, or feedback. Our next broadcast will be March 26th. Please join us again then. We will leave you with some footage of Pacifica's youngest Mavericks competitor, Colin Dwyer. We'd like to thank Kurt Myers of Powerline Productions for donating this amazing footage. Enjoy.